Hey everybody, I am going to do a very quick review of the last 4 weeks of the UTC seminars. So please understand that that's over 4 hours of information that I'm going to do in 4 minutes. But week 1, we started off with digestion. What is involved in digestion? Things like how you prepare your food, whether you juice it, blend it, cook it, boil it, all these things matter. Then how well you chew your food, what happens in the esophagus and what happens in the stomach, and why stomach acid is so important, and what the appropriate acidity should be for stomach acid, and why you should have a lot of it, and why most people who have acid reflux, GERD, and all these things actually have too low stomach acid and their pH is too high, meaning you're not acidic enough. Counterintuitive, but it's the truth, everybody. You are getting these symptoms because you don't have enough stomach acid and because your acidity is not high enough. To be healthy, you need a lot of stomach acid and you need it to be very acidic. That the reason why you are getting that GERD, which can then turn into Barrett's and could eventually turn into esophageal cancer, the reason why you're getting that and ignoring it and taking Tums and proton pump inhibitors is not because you have so much acid in your stomach. It's the opposite. And we explained how and why, and the sphincter at the top of the stomach and below the esophagus and what's happening there. The reflux is happening because that sphincter is not closing. It's not closing because it's supposed to close when there's a lot of acid there and when the acidity, the pH of that acid is high enough. That's just a quick example of the types of things that we're talking about, the practical information. From there, we talked about from the stomach to the duodenum and how the pancreas and pancreatic enzymes do their magic, and why the health of your pancreas is likely not very good due to the fact that the signaling from the liver is horrible, because most people walking around have fatty liver disease. Yes, the liver talks to the pancreas, and it is the pancreas that delivers the pancreatic enzymes into the duodenum to do its magic. From the liver, what does that do? Well, that delivers bile. I mean, the liver does a whole bunch of things, but in terms of digestion, the liver delivers bile to the gallbladder, and the gallbladder squeezes that bile into the duodenum, and it helps emulsify fats along with lipase from the pancreas. So we focused a lot on fats, and the reason why is because a lot of people have trouble emulsifying and digesting fats because the health of their stomach acid is horrible. They have fatty liver disease, and therefore the signaling is horrible between the liver and the pancreas. The quality of bile they are creating is horrible. They have gallstones due to cholesterol. And the cholesterol, people, it's not because of the cholesterol you eat. How those cholesterol forms, how that cholesterol is formed as gallstones is a different pathway. Again, if you attend seminars, you'll understand how and why these things happen and what you can do about it. But then we went on the following week and we talked about the genes that affect fat metabolism. So is saturated fat bad for you? Well, it depends if you have certain genes. And we actually can tell if you have certain genes if you do a 23andMe test, and many of you have done it. And we've sat down and I've said to you, hey, you have these genes which implicate saturated fat. And this is something that you should not avoid, but you should limit and have certain other fats instead. We talked about other things regarding saturated fats and other forms of fats as well. And most importantly, how to help clear up these issues with digestion, practical things. From there, we talked about microbiota. We talked about the gut wall, the mucus lining, and how and why people are getting things such as SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth, irritable bowel syndrome, you name it, including things like autoimmune disease and how that's happening via your gut and how the gut is talking to your brain via the lymphatic system. This went on and on and on. This was a huge topic. And of course, how that affects your mitochondria, which was yesterday's topic. Mitochondrial health, that's 90 to 95% of your body's energy. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, well, guess what? Most of your immune system is in your gut. So we talked about that week 3 and how to keep your gut really healthy and the things that are important for gut health, including certain supplements that you're likely not getting, especially during the winter, to keep your immune system functioning at a high level. Then from mitochondria, we explained the electron transport chain and what that big bottleneck is. I'll give you a hint. The bottleneck is happening in a spot where statins actually lower this very, very important molecule. And if you're not supplementing with this product, you're doing yourself a disservice. And you may wonder, well, why is it that my doctor's not telling me to supplement it while I'm on my statin? Guess what? Many are now. It's a matter of whether or not your doctor knows it. We know this for an absolute fact. So at the end of the day, what is happening here? Mitochondrial dysfunction is a function of you're eating too much. That's bottom line. We explained that the electron transport chain, we refer to it as a train instead of a chain. The train can only stop at only one train at each station at a time. That's how electrons go through. You may be saying, well, what the heck do electrons have to do with this? Because all the food you eat turns into electrons, everybody. Eventually, that's how energy is used and produced in the body via ATP. So this may sound, really confusing, but again, I'm trying to do all of this stuff in 7 minutes. So please understand that the bottom line is mitochondrial health affects things like type 2 diabetes, your heart health. Okay, guess where most of your mitochondria are? In your heart, everybody. So when we talk about supplements that can increase the health of your mitochondria, we're talking about things that will increase the health of your heart and the health of your brain. Yeah, practical information like that. So hopefully we'll see more people next week where we talk about inflammation. And if we want to talk about the one thing that we know for sure influences health and longevity, well, we know that mitochondrial health is really important. We know that in that electron transport chain, we talked about how when it leaks out, it causes free radical damage, but it's very specific to what is happening in the mitochondria. That very particular free radical damage is what matters, not the exogenous free radical damage. It's actually what's happening there. That is what we're seeing as the free radical theory of aging is the most important thing, which then creates inflammation. So now next week we will talk about inflammation and what we can do about that, what we know about that. So guys, we're getting nerdy, we're getting geeky, but we're answering your questions. But at the end of the day, you all have been giving us unbelievable feedback about how practical what we're giving you is and the immediate steps that you guys are taking from each seminar to make yourselves healthier. And over the course of 12 weeks, if you take one thing from each seminar, you got 12 things to make you healthier. Not just you, your kids, your mom, your dad, your friends. It's not just about you. It's about everybody you interact with. Don't let your kids fall victim to the same shit you fell victim to. It's your duty to learn, to understand, to step up and implement the basic stuff we're showing you because it is doable. It's manageable. It's no big deal to do some of the things we're asking you to do. And again, we appreciate your attendance. It's a $20 fee to attend a seminar. And if you're not satisfied, I'll give you $20. All right, everybody, have a great day.